What the fuck? Hey, Friday afternoon. What's going on? I turned in a draft of 601 to the Studio Network today. First draft. It's I think it's okay. It's pretty close. Not there yet, but close. Working on my writers are working on the draft of 602. Chris and Adria are writing 602 starting this weekend. And what else is going on? We have our little upfront shindig next week in New York, and things are moving along. No casting news. That actually, I do have casting news. I can't say anything yet. I know I'm a dick for just saying that, but I have a role this season. I don't quite know how big or small it's going to be, but I asked an actor to do it, and if we can work it out with his schedule, and we're going to make it happen. What else? Sorry. It's been a long day. Oh man, I fucking hate schmutz. I'm so fucking OCD. I'm not gonna be able to focus on anything but that schmutz on my shirt right now. It's time to up the medication. That's it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna ask some questions, or someone's gonna ask me some questions. I'm gonna answer some questions. I think I'm gonna scrap this and start over. Carrie Lindale from Texas asks, will Tara find her inner old lady this season? Here's the deal with Tara. I don't think it's ever about Tara finding her inner old lady, or the note that I give to, or have been giving to Maggie really since the show began, was that the struggle for Tara isn't so much about tapping into, isn't so much about, managing the changes that are happening to her as a result of the life. The struggle for me, for Tara, is that she was somebody that came from this life who had the capacity to be any of those old ladies that you see on the screen. She was on that path, and she made the decision to get out when she was very young, and spent a lot of time away educating herself, creating this other life, creating a different persona, if you will, this professional persona. So for me, the struggle with Tara wasn't so much about, changing who she was. The struggle was always about, I have this dark side in me, and I don't want to let it come out. I want to suppress it. So it was more about, not accessing what she had the capacity to do, rather than the struggle of, I'm this really good person, and how do I wrap my brain around these bad things? If that makes sense. Makes sense to me. So I didn't really answer your question, but that's sort of my MO. Are there stuff you wanted to put in the series but couldn't thanks to the budget, or can you fill it out with the budget the show has? I always, I think the key to having a successful show, I think, is really looking at the parameters and instead of looking at them as drawbacks, is that you really sort of look at them as creative challenges. And I learned that really from, or I don't know if I learned it, but I was introduced to that concept by Scott Brazil on The Shield, who, The Shield had a very small budget. It was an action-heavy show. It was a show that filmed in LA. And Scott's whole approach wasn't so much, well, let's not look at the budget or our travel restraints in terms of how far our radius is from the studio, because if you go beyond a certain amount of time, a certain amount of mileage, it's a different formula. It becomes more expensive. There's more union costs. Instead of looking at that as handcuffs, Scott was the guy who said, well, that gives us, putting us in that box gives us, the opportunity to, reinvent the box and to use it as a creative challenge rather than, feeling like we're getting fucked by it. And I think that was the reason why The Shield had the look it did. It always felt bigger, and the production value always, I think, felt much greater than what was on the screen. Always felt greater than what the actual budget was. And I try to do that, or try to bring that same philosophy to Sons. And I know my line producer JP, John Perry, and my other EP, Paris Barkley, subscribe to that philosophy as well, in terms of what can we do for the budget, and within those parameters, what can we do that's different, what can we do that's exciting, and look at it as an opportunity to be creative, to do something different, rather than, oh fuck, if only I could have this piece of equipment, or if only I could film in that location, or if only I had the money for this amount of extras, and or that special effect, which we really don't have. We don't have that kind of budget on this show. So you just sort of learn to live in that world and use it to your advantage rather than liability. I think that makes sense. Dan from Connecticut, any chance we see Venus Van Dam show up this season? Perhaps riding off into the sunset on the back of Tig's bike. There are no plans as of yet to have the fabulous Venus return. But we're still in the world of escorts this season. Diosa didn't go away at the end of last season, so she's a specialty date. So one never knows. She could come back, and I haven't talked to Walton in a while, so I'm sure Walton's a busy cat as well. So we'll see if there's a story to tell, and if we can get Walton on board, then those fabulous rubber double Ds could be back. I actually have them in my office. Let's see. Is there a character you created made up of bits of you, who you are or wanted to be, other than Otto? Louise Caldwell of Fort Irwin, California. Actually, Otto is probably the farthest character from me. I think Otto is sort of my anti-picture of Dorian Gray in terms of my real life. But Otto's a badass and a hardened prison dude, which I assure you I am not. You know, I think all the characters have bits and pieces of me. I think any writer will would attest to that. You know, I don't think there's one character that lands on me. You know, I think a lot of the struggles that Jax has have always been my struggles in terms of manhood and responsibility and family. Obviously, not the outlaw component, but just thematically. I relate a lot to Gemma's character. I think Gemma has a lot of my impulsivity and rage issues. I've given Tig a lot of my phobias and fears. You know, so there's little bits and pieces of me in and about Sons, as well as people I know and have come to love. That's it. I'm already over 12 minutes here. So I'll try to keep doing my little Twitter Q&As, even though I consistently lose about 400 followers every time I do it. I'm doing it for the religious followers who aren't freaked out by seeing their feed fill up with 100 tweets from me, often dealing with sexual acts involving family members. That's the drill. Maybe I'll do a what the fuck from New York when I'm out there with all the guys or something, if I remember. Actually, you guys can tweet me and remind me on Wednesday. Remind me to do a what the fuck on Thursday with the dudes and the ladies. That's it. Say goodnight. Say goodnight. Good night.